Hi, this is Zach Meir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 24th of October. Starting off with the FTSE 100, where it seems to be rising off the back of comments by Keir Starmer that there's no need for wealth creators to lead the country in the run-up to the budget next week, which will presumably raise a bit of money for the government. But in the meantime, we're just hitting that resistance line there from May around, we tried to hit that resistance line there from May around 83.50. High today, 83.37, but want to see an end-of-day close above that as a minimum trigger for a push to the upside, breaking the top of the recent range through 8400. Obviously, we've got the best-case scenario target there, the top of the rising trend channel at 8700, which is difficult to imagine being hit, but stranger things have happened. On the downside, we've got the floor of the channel there around 8230, and the downside at the moment hopefully limited to the 8160s, which were basically September and October support for this market. If everything does go haywire next week, though, we do have the 200-day line there at around 80.60 as notional support, although you can see back in August we bounced above that, and also in March, etc. So hopefully it won't come to that. Moving on to the DAX, and one would assume that if the FTSE is up, the DAX will be up as well, and it is. Here we're just trading either side of the old September resistance, so 19,500. Still looking for the top of the channel there at 20,300 by the end of next month, and looking for that while we remain above recent support, 19,300. RSI stayed above neutral 50, in fact multiple support points above neutral 50, which is very encouraging. It's a type of pattern that we'll see in gold as well, and it's the sort of thing you see when a market is in full bull mode. Moving on to the Dow, and here obviously the presidential election coming closer and closer, and a little bit of a pullback there back towards the October support area in the 50-day moving average, 41,800, that area. So I suppose we've got to brace ourselves for a move down to there. In terms of getting back onto the bullish tack, then it would be an end-of-day close above the old September resistance, 42,600, to then take us up to the top of that rising trend channel from this time last year, as high as 43,600, looking for that by the end of next month. Also looking at the RSI here, which is going dangerously close to the neutral 50 level at 52, but at the moment still we're above that area. Moving on to Bitcoin, where people were getting rather excited that the market was going to go over the top as recently as last week. Unfortunately, so far, it hasn't done that, but not making a total meal of it, or not totally ruining that scenario, in the sense that we've got that line of resistance there from March. That's around 68,000, end of day close above 68,000, and we're still looking for a move up to the June resistance line projection at 75,000. Ideally, we stay above the old September peak and recent support, 65,000, as we wait for the 50 and 200-day lines to cross. So hopefully that will provide some momentum. So this could still be the turning point. This month could still see the turning point for Bitcoin to head higher up to 75,000. I suppose it is also, by the back door, a Trump trade as well. Moving along to the situation at gold, and here it's been up and away, but yesterday the market finally had a pullback, and the old resistance there, 2708 from September, looking for that to come in as new support over the next day or two. And also we've got the floor of that rising trend channel there from back in June. The uptrend line there currently running around the 2700 level, so that kind of adds up. That above 2700, we're looking for 2800 at the top of that rising trend channel by the end of next month. Moving on to the stocks, and surprise, surprise, with Alkemy as the first contender. Here we've got the previously drawn lines here, actually, with a rather ambitious looking resistance line projection there from March, which I think I must have drawn earlier this month on the gap close buy signal that we had there. Great one there in the low 40s, and obviously to buy today, one would have doubled one's money. Interesting that there was a gap close buy signal, because it almost suggests that one or two people successfully guessed that today's funding was on its way, so well done to them. In terms of what happens next, I would like to see an end-of-day close above the 200-day line at 69 pence, because of above that, we're looking for that rather ambitious March resistance line projection at £1. But always good to see a company that has wrong-footed the market. Obviously, not many people believed it would get today's funding news. Moving on to Avacta, where the excitement continues in terms of the bulls and the bears. Happy with the current or the latest rebound this week, which is a sort of much higher low than we had back at the beginning of the month, which maybe gives us hope that we'll finally break that line of resistance there from July. That's at 69 pence, and then head up and retest July resistance in the low 80s. The other key thing here is that obviously in the recent past, either through Deutsche Bank or the company issuing new equity, we've seen the shares fall or fail at the 200-day line, and we don't really want to see that happening again. So the big turning point, hopefully fourth or fifth time lucky in terms of breaking that 200-day moving average. Only back below recent 3-day support around 56 pence really suggests that we're going to fill that gap down to 52 pence. The fact that we bounced above that is actually quite a bullish point, as well as is the way that we bounced on RSI 50. So, as I said, hopefully this time is the trend change that we'd be looking for. Moving on to Deltic, and here also a sign of a turnaround here. It's a bear trap reversal and bear trap rebound from below 4.6 pence. Above that, looking for the but basically August resistance, and the top of that triangle there from August as high as 10 pence plus by the end of next month. Seems rather ambitious, but not as ambitious as Alkemy was, and also we have bullish divergence there, so lower lows for the latter part of October, but a higher RSI trace, so there could be some momentum there at Deltic. On to Firering, which I haven't looked at for a bit. Here we've got a rising trend channel base, another stock which is trying to break its 200-day line. Obviously we failed back in August, having another go now, and looking for this to be the definitive break on the basis that we've had a RSI rebound at neutral 50. That tends to be a leading indicator on the upside. So having a guess that we'll get an end of day close above 3.4 pence in the 200-day line and head up to 4 pence by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay on the right side of the 50-day line, 3.2 pence on an end of day close basis. Next up is Great Southern Copper, and here, if I can type in the right letters, we'll see that this is a potential recovery situation. We've got what I call a sideways shuffle above a rising 50-day line near the low, so it looks as though we are about to head higher. We also had a little gap there a week or so ago, and looking for the shares to head up to the top of that falling trend channel at 2.2 pence by the end of next month, while, or if we can get a decent end of day close above the initial October resistance at 1.3 pence. We also had a double RSI bounce off neutral 50, so really am quite expectant on a move to the upside there from Great Southern, while there's no end of day close back below the 50-day line. Moving on to Galileo, where we're also been rather frustrated by the range trade that the shares have been in. Top of the range there at 1.2 pence, so looking for end of day close above that, hopefully sometime soon, to then give us the move up to the top of the rising trend channel at 1.8, which we've been looking for quite some time, many months in fact, on that particular scenario. Ideally, obviously, we stay on the right side of a penny, which we have for the most time in the recent past. Moving on to Helix, where there was a decent RNS today. Looks like a pre-discovery RNS there from the company. You can almost smell the hydrogen, if you could smell hydrogen. And we can actually upgrade the upside target here with the second gap in a week, which is pretty impressive. Looking for the shares to hit 31 pence, hopefully by the end of this month, so over the next week or so, especially while there's no end of day close back below today's, the floor of the latest gap there at 23, so above 23. Looking for 31 pence, and we also had an RSI rebound on the neutral 50 level, which has worked as a leading indicator on the upside. On to Neo Energy, which has been consolidating in the recent past. Nice gap higher today, so it's a bear trap gap reversal from below the initial October low at 0.9. Above 0.9, looking for the shares basically to get back to 1.3, 1.4 pence by the end of next month. Looking at a stock which is relatively obscure, so other people don't have to, I would say. Here we've got ProCook and rising trend channel base, beautiful bear trap turnaround there, bear trap island reversal, and above the floor of the channel at 25 pence, looking for up to 40 pence by the end of next month. Another RSI 50 rebound there for the shares, or those shares. On to Ondine, not quite in alphabetical order here. We had the unfilled gap to the upside. We've had a failed gap fill there, and then another gap to the upside. So this is looking as though it's finally going to take off. We had the news, I think, with King's College earlier in the week. And here, initial target 9 pence, which we're looking for hopefully over the next, by the end of this month, and up to 13 pence by the end of next month. I think there was a premium placing here at 12 pence. So shares making a beeline for that area. On to stock which is also coming back after a long time, and it is quantum blockchain. And here you can see that we had a gap close buy signal at the beginning of the month around 0.57, which was something of a gift given where we are now. And we've got the initial target there at 0.82. Above that, looking for the shares to deliver a move at least to the 200-day moving average area, which is at around 0.9 pence over the next week or two. On to Rome Resources, where the suggestion that the seller was out below 0.3 proved to be spot on. And the charting has also been spot on as well, in the sense that the shares gapped up through the 50 and 200-day lines and then gapped up again, so double gap higher. Our initial target there was the red resistance line there at 0.35. Above that, we're looking for the top of the rising trend channel from July, as high as 0.5 pence by the end of next month. Also interesting that today the company had a investor presentation, and the takeaway from that really was that it has so far rather underplayed what it is sitting on in terms of assets. Moving on to Silver Bullet, and here one can see that shares have broken a falling wedge there, gap through that, and that is quite encouraging in terms of seeing the shares break that line there at 48 pence and hopefully head up to as high as 94 pence by the end of next month. Punchy call there, but shares, you can see from the historical chart, shares that can move, when really move quickly when they want to. Finishing off with Seascape, and here you can see that another rather weird chart with a massive bear trap, in fact two bear traps I suppose, really below 17 pence. We've hit the top of the range and heading higher, and looking for the shares to hit that resistance line there, late 2022 resistance line at 40 pence, while we're above the old resistance, June-August resistance there at 24. So above 24, looking for 40 on Seascape. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.